Let's head straight into our top story this afternoon. Now, last month, a prominent critic of Russian President Vladimir Putin fell ill during a flight. The team of the Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny alleged that he was poisoned through a cup of tea. Navalny was then transferred to the Charité hospital in Berlin. Now, after several twists and days of allegations and counter-allegations, Germany claims to have found irrefutable evidence that Alexei Navalny was poisoned. A military lab in Germany has found traces of Novichok in Navalny's body. So what is this substance called Novichok? Well, the name means newcomer in Russian. Novichok is a nerve agent developed by the Soviet Union and later by Russia between the years 1971 and 1993. Novichok agents have effects similar to other nerve agents. They block messages from the nerves to the muscles. It's important to note that this is not the first time that Novichok has made news. In fact, in 2018, an ex-Russian spy and his daughter were poisoned with the same substance in the British city of Salisbury. The attack left Sergei Skripal and his daughter Yulia critically ill. Multiple laboratories confirmed that Novichok was used to poison him and his daughter. And now the traces of the same substance, or nerve agent rather, have been found in Navalny's body as well, which further strengthens the case that he was in fact poisoned by the Russian establishment. So what is Germany doing about it? Well, it plans to notify its European and NATO partners about the test results. Berlin is also demanding an urgent clarification from Moscow on how a Soviet-era nerve agent was detected in Navalny's body. The chemical weapons watchdog has also been contacted by the German government. Germany's findings contradict the version which was put forward by Russian authorities. The German Chancellor Angela Merkel reacted to this news and called it attempted murder through poisoning.
Alexei Navalny wurde Opfer eines Angriffs mit einem chemischen Nervenkampfstoff der Novichok-Gruppe. Dieses Gift lässt sich zweifelsfrei in den Proben nachweisen. Damit ist sicher, Alexei Navalny ist Opfer eines Verbrechens. Er sollte zum Schweigen gebracht werden und ich verurteile das auch im Namen der ganzen Bundesregierung auf das Allerschärfste. Es sind bestürzende Informationen über den versuchten Giftmord an einem der führenden Oppositionellen Russlands. Und daher ist es mir wichtig, dazu auch noch einmal vor Ihnen Stellung zu nehmen. Herr Nawalny ist seit dem 22. August hier in Berlin in Behandlung. Aus humanitären Gründen und auf Wunsch seiner Familie haben wir seine Verlegung nach Deutschland ermöglicht.
The Kremlin spokesperson has also reacted to the German claim, saying that Berlin did not inform Moscow about its conclusions on Navalny's poisoning case. Now remember, the Siberian hospital where he was being treated had completely ruled out any poisoning allegations. Russia has also refused to open a criminal probe into Navalny's poisoning. Novichok is a nerve agent that has been regularly associated with the Russian regime. Although Moscow denies using it, multiple spy agencies in the West have confirmed that Russia produces it for covert operations. Now, for more details on this developing story, Julia Chapman joins us live from Moscow. Thanks so much for joining us, Julia. Now, the German Chancellor has put out some strong statements and has called this case a case of attempted murder. So how has this been perceived in Russia? Tell us more.
Well, most Russian officials are roundly denying that the government could have had anything to do with the poisoning of Alexei Navalny. They're refuting the German account of events leading up to his illness 2 weeks ago today, when he took ill on a plane journey from Siberia to Moscow, and that plane had to carry out an emergency landing, and Alexei Navalny was rushed to a hospital in the city of Omsk. Now, doctors there said they didn't find any traces of poisoning, although that was one of the options they were looking into when they tried to diagnose him. As we know, he was later sent to Berlin after many delays that his team says were deliberate, because they believe that the poison was working its way through his system, and if it took him long enough to get out of the country, it would have been harder to trace. Nevertheless, the German doctors say they believe that they have found traces of Novichok in his system. The Russian government says that it's waiting for the information from the German government to come directly to them. They want to see all of the details before they weigh into this.
Right. Tell us a little bit more about this nerve agent called Novichok. We hear that the Soviet-era drug makers, or the developer, has completely rebuffed the charges and said that the nerve agent would have surely killed Navalny. So tell us more about this so-called nerve agent.
Yes, one of the developers of Novichok nerve agents told Russian state media that the symptoms that Navalny was exhibiting didn't chime with what would be expected from Novichok. Of course, that's a different version of events to what the Germans are presenting. But Novichok was developed in the Soviet Union in the 1970s and 1980s. It is one of the most powerful chemical compounds in the world. And it was not among those that was handed over by the Soviet Union to the OPCW when it handed over all of its chemical weapons. Now, of course, it is the same kind of nerve agent that the British government accused Russia of using in the poisoning of Sergei Skripal and his daughter in 2018. That didn't result in their deaths, but it did result in the death of a local in Salisbury in the UK. But this is a highly potent substance, and critics say there's simply no way that it could have been used without explicit knowledge and even permission from the very top of the Russian government, from the Kremlin.
Now, even Western powers have said very clearly that Russia continues to use Novichok in covert operations. So has the Russian regime responded to these allegations?
It certainly has. It completely denies any use of Novichok or any other chemical agent in attacks on dissenters here in Russia or elsewhere in the world. Nevertheless, it time and again is accused of carrying out these attacks with these incredibly potent chemicals, which are very dangerous. As we know, in 2018, with the poisoning of Sergei and Yulia Skripal, huge parameters of the city of Salisbury had to be shut down for fear of contamination, and indeed 2 members of the public were contaminated, as well as a number of police officers. So it's a very dangerous substance and very difficult to come by. And so this accusation has been leveled at Russia time and again, particularly with regards to Novichok. This is now the second time that such a high-profile figure has allegedly been targeted with this substance.
Right. My final question now. Dissidents and defectors of the Putin regime at times just disappear without any investigation into the matter, and this has happened in the past. Navalny too remains a Putin critic, of course. So can we expect a probe into this alleged poisoning case, or for that matter, for any Western powers to intervene?
Well, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov did say a couple weeks ago that if poisoning turned out to be the cause of his condition, then an investigation would be carried out. But now he's slightly changing his tune. He says that the Russian government needs to hear all of the data, all of the details from his diagnosis before that continues, before that goes ahead. No criminal investigation has been opened here in Russia into the events 2 weeks ago. There have been criminal inquiries, but no official investigation has been opened yet by police, and critics say that's because they don't want to look into the details. They don't want to unveil who may have ordered this. Now, of course, Alexei Navalny is a very prominent Kremlin critic, but he has also made a lot of other enemies through his very high-profile anti-corruption investigations, where he's taken aim at a number of Russian elites. So there are many people who may have wanted to do Navalny harm, but since the German government is now saying Novichok was responsible for his illness, it's difficult to see how this couldn't have happened with at least permission from the Kremlin.
Right. Julia, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon and for all your inputs on this developing story.